Hello, good morning, everyone. Uh, Thanks for joining this morning. So, my name is Pranjal Dubey, and we are going to start the session which is data analytics using Microsoft Excel. Can I just get a quick check if you can hear me loud and clear? Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you. So basically, before starting, I just want to give a quick introduction what the session is all about. So it is a little bit different from the usual Microsoft Excel sessions. So it is not completely that we use Excel functions and all. Rather, we will more focus on the data analytics part. Excel is just a tool. So how we can utilize the data today, how you can think, how you should proceed, how you can use the different analytic analysis we can do inside the data using the Microsoft Excel as a tool. So the session will consist of your hands-on as well. So we will again start using all the different concepts and how to create some interactive, interesting dashboards as well. Before going that, how we are going to interact. So we all are on this platform. I hope everyone knows because I just checked it. So we'll use the chat functionality to interact. So if you have any questions, you can ask on the chat box and then we'll see and reply. Okay. Okay. Just a quick check from today. Which part of the world you are joining today? You can write your place name. Hello, Sadhana from Chicago, Singapore, Chennai, India. Okay, Philippines. Hello from Canada. Hello, Ruby. Hi from London, Seattle, Sydney, Sri Lanka. Hi, Srijit, Madeline, US, Rebecca. Hello, Rebecca. Great guys. Thanks again for joining. I mean, I can see people from all over the world have joined it. So again, it might be for some of you it's a night. Some of you it's a daytime. So again, thanks again for taking out your time for this. I hope we at the end of the session we are definitely going to learn new things today, and I hope it will be fruitful. Little quick introduction about who we are. So we are Exaltius, okay, and we are actually technical and more into data side. So we are data driven company. Our expertise lies in the data engineering, data analytics, data science, the big data platforms what we use, and the different cloud servers we have. We also provide solutions to the companies here and across the SEA region using machine learning, and we create AI platforms for them. In training side, we have conducted, this data is actually old. This is, we have conducted over 1,000 plus sessions already in Southeast Asia regions. And because of during this COVID time, actually we are doing it a lot. So because all of our trainers are also from industry side, so we try to use the real data set. We try to use the to see how the data can impact the operations of the real businesses. Okay, so this is what how we are actually going to see. Some of the clients that what we have uh, are in basically Singapore is UOB Bank, DBS Bank. These are the banks. In terms of logistics, if you see that we have the DHL, we have different big vendors here who are different from retail sides, some banking, finance industry, education industry, also universities. We also try to give trainings to the students. So a lot of universities and the colleges are also included here. Some of the glimpses that what we conducted are these. So we also before COVID we were more focused on the classroom sessions, but right now no classroom. So always we try to provide all the online sessions in all the the topics that what we have related to data science. So I will not take much of your time, and directly let's hear from our speaker today. So I will hand over to Bhavani. So Bhavani is speaker for today. So Bhavani, over to you, please.
Hi, Pranjal. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the session. I hope all of you are doing good. Uh, yeah. So today topic is all about data analytics with Excel. So this is what we are going to discuss. Okay, so let me share my screen quickly for you. So can I get a quick confirmation from you that you're able to see my screen? All of you? So can anyone respond over chat? Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so today's session is about data analytics with Excel. So let me give a quick introduction about me. I'm Bhavani Reddy. I am So I'm a trainer at Exaltis Tech Private Limited. I'm an IT trainer. So I've completed my bachelor's in computer sciences. I have more than 9 years of experience in IT industry, particularly in Excel, SQL, PLSQL, then OBIE, NoSQL, and Power BI technologies. Okay, so I've been delivering trainings for like more than 40 to 45 IT industries and colleges across India, Singapore, and South Africa. Okay, so this is my introduction. So today we majorly focus on how do we design or how do we do analytics using Excel platform. Okay, so let me first put you a question. Uh, how much data do you think we create every single day? How much data you think you create every single day? So it's like too much of data. Okay, so it's like 2.5 quintillion data. So this is the data. Some people might think like it's way beyond your kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes, right? And even terabytes. It's way beyond that number we are creating. This is the volume of the data every day we are creating. Okay, this means that's a huge amount of data to handle, isn't it? So what is data? So according to Siliv Humby, right, data is said to be a new oil. So, who is this guy? He's a British mathematician and he's an entrepreneur in the field of data science and customer centric business strategies. So, he's the person who defined data is the new oil because you see, the trend nowadays is all about dealing with data. So, there are so many new things have come. So, earlier we used to have only the databases as a storage, right, to store the data. But the trend has moved from databases to analyzing the data, reporting the data, then it has moved to big data. So there are so many new concepts and so many new technologies are emerging because the volume of data is getting uh, increased day by day. So people want to do a lot of analysis over it. People want to see how a lot of insights about the data, right? So, and I tell you again here, he says it's the new oil. Data is the new oil. So when the data is useful, then it is a new oil. Otherwise, it becomes a waste oil. Okay. So what is data? Because the very class or the title of this particular session itself is data analytics. So first we need to know what a data is, right? So in simple terms, to put it for you, data is a information. Okay, data is a useful information, I can say. Okay, so useful information in the sense, I tell you why I'm saying useful information, because it is the data that you're going to use is only to solve your business questions, to solve your business related questions. Okay, so we don't require any unnecessary data. So I say it as data is a useful information. So in other words, you can say data is a collection of facts. So facts are nothing but numbers, and collection of words. We call in analytic terms words as measurements, right? And observations are even just description of anything. So any observations or any description of anything, you can call it as a data. If you take employee data, right? So you have facts, collection of numbers. So collection of numbers, facts, as in if you take employee data, salary is in a number. So that becomes a fact there, isn't it? So words, collection of words, employee name, employee first name, employee address. So these all becomes the words or the measures. Okay. So that is how the data has been designed. So it's a collection of facts, measurements, observations is nothing but the data. What can we do with the data? Next is, what can you do with the data? So you can do a lot of things with the data. Okay, so you can analyze, you can find insights, you can design reports, you can design dashboards, you can design some inferences, you can drive some inferences from the data. So there are a lot of things that you can do with the data. The very first step that we are going to discuss what we can do with data is exploratory data analysis. Okay, so what does the exploratory data analysis means? It is nothing but, in statistical terminology, exploratory data analysis is an approach to analyzing data sets to summarize their main characteristics. So you analyze your data set, summarize the main characteristic of the data set. So this is helpful often when you are drawing the visual methods, when you are representing your data in visual form. So it is very useful for you when you have the summarized data and when you know the characteristic of your data. What are the characteristics or the properties of your data? Next step is drive useful insights. So we are going to draw insights out of the data. So you collect a lot of data. So you collect a lot of information, like for example marketing, if you say. Okay, so you're going to draw some insights out of the particular marketing data. So to narrate your story, to make it more effective, to make it more useful, so you draw some kind of insights out of your story. Okay, so next, creating dashboards. So creating, next one is creating dashboards and reports. So usually, I'm sure most of you are working in many sectors. We already know how bosses act, right? Bosses love reports. They like to have anything to be reported to them. So you can wow your boss using all, or using representing your data by dashboards or by reports. So it creates, you can create dashboards using the data. Okay, so next, drive inferences. So what new inferences you can drive? What are the conclusions that you can make out of your data? Okay, so these are the things that we can do with the data. So I think all of you are clear here what data is. Next, what is analytics? Okay, so first let's speak about what are the steps that are involved in analytics. Okay, so first thing in analytics, what you do is first data cleaning. So you need to do the data cleaning. So your collected information might have some missing information, might have some error information, might have some unwanted information. So anything can be there which may not be required for your analysis. So first thing what we have to do is we clean the data. So 80% of our job involves in cleaning of the data, or 80% of the time we take to clean the data, to bring the data to a meaningful patterns. Okay, next is exploratory data analysis. So next what we do is we do an exploratory data analysis. So we draw some visuals, insights out of our data. Okay, so next we do a machine learning modeling. So these are the things that we'll be doing in the data. So data cleaning, as I told you, yes, you remove all incorrected data. Is there any outliers you check in the data, and you see whether the data is reliable or unreliable. Okay, so you check what are the outcomes of your algorithms you're drawing. Okay, so you try to fix all incorrect data, you format the data, Data may be inconsistent, data may be duplicate, so data may be incomplete as well. In such case, you can try to get more information on that particular data what you collected. So this can happen anytime. So that's the data cleaning part. Next, in exploratory data analysis, so what you do, it is a good practice to understand your data. So what is the data all about? What am I doing with this data? So it's always good practice for you to understand the data before, once you gather the data. So in exploratory data analysis, making you, once you clean the data, you need to make sense out of data. So you need to have some sense what data it is, okay, before getting your hands dirty with it. Okay, so exploratory data analysis refers to your critical process of performing initial investigations. So initially you can investigate some type of data to spot some anomalies, and then to test your hypothesis, right, to check your assumptions with the help of your summary data. So that is next thing you're going to do. Next, the last thing what we do is machine learning. So machine learning is nothing but it's something related to artificial intelligence, okay, so which provides systems the ability to automatically learn, improve from the experience. So you as a human, you're not going to train your system. So you design some algorithms and then you want your system to automatically learn it with the experience. Okay, so that is the machine learning part. So here machine learning focuses on development of your computer programs that can access data and use to learn it by themselves. So you're not doing anything over here. Okay, next, here, modeling and predictive analytics. There is another thing that we also include under analytics, okay, which is called modeling and predictive analytics. So predictive analytics, I refer it as a branch of advanced analytics which is used to make predictions about unknown future events. So you don't know what's the future is, but you can make some predictions about the future events. Okay, that is predictive analytics. So the combination of data cleaning and exploratory data analysis, machine learning, predictive analytics, we call it as an analytics. So you need to follow all the steps to analyze data. Okay, so that is nothing but the analytics. Now, what are the maturities of analytics capabilities? Okay, so what is that? That is what we are going to see here. See, many businesses today so are aware of that great impact of data. What is the importance of data, right? What we can draw from the data. Okay, and are looking to implement analytics in their company. Many of them are doing, from startups to the big giants. Okay, so many of them want to have the data driven culture in their organization. So in addition to this, the increased awareness of analytics, increased awareness of analytics, next also number of different analytical solutions and techniques available in recent times, many businesses are also trying to figure out which solution fits the best for their problem. So they're also trying to analyze out of data. So in order to understand what is the solution that fits their business or that fits the organization's problem, fits into the organization's problem. Okay, so there are some kind of steps that we follow here. So in general, there are four main categories of analytics. Okay, so first is descriptive analytics, another one is diagnostic analytics, predictive, prescriptive. These are the four steps. Okay, so in the diagram, if you can see, you have the raw data. We already discussed the cleaning of the data. We already discussed the standard reports, ad hoc reports, and OLAP. Then self-service BI. Okay, so in BI, what we do, we are going to see what happened, what has happened. Okay, why did it happen, what will happen in future, what is the best that could happen. Okay, this is what organizations want to find out. So these are the 4-step process. Descriptive. Descriptive analytics, in the sense, what has happened. This is the first phase. We just want to find out what has happened in the very first step of your analytics. Okay. Next, diagnostic analytics. So diagnostic analytics answers you why did it happen? What is the reason it happened? Okay. Predictive analytics. Predictive analytics, with the help of this information collected, what will happen? Okay. Prescriptive analytics is something which prescribes a solution. What is the best solution, or what is the best thing that could happen if you perform, or if you do, or if you follow some certain measures. Okay. So these are the 4-step process which are involved in analytics. So which our companies are interested to know, or the organizations are interested to find out. Okay. Next is user engagement. Okay. So why is that you think user engagement is necessary? Because how the companies are drawing the data, or how the companies are getting the data by involving the users. Yes, user engagement is highly correlated with overall profit of your organization, isn't it? So many of us already know this. So it's always good to have user attention in a finite resource for us to gather more insights, more data from them. Okay, highly engaged users are more likely to buy, isn't it? And they are more likely to return, and they also share the product and the service with their friends. So it goes with the recommendation. So it is always a good idea to have a good user engagement. Okay. So next we talk about the data science process. What is the data science process? How the data science deconstructed the data. Okay. So deconstruction, in the sense, breaking the complex craft into a simplest parts, that is deconstruction. So a complex part is divided into a simple parts, so that it is easy for the end user to understand. Okay. So it involves some steps here. So first step is frame the problem. So you need to frame your problem out of your data. Who you are helping, what do they need? So in the problem statement, you need to identify which is the organization, or who are the persons you are helping, and what exactly their want, or what their requirement is about. So you need to frame the problem. Second option, or second point, is collect raw data. So collecting, in the process of collecting raw data, you need to answer what data is available, which parts are useful. So what data is available? What are the, so in the available data, what is the useful information I can take to do a particular analysis? Is my point clear? Third is process the data. So once you identified who you are helping, what they want, and you also collected the data, so you, from the data, you have seen what is the only useful data that you can use for your analysis. Now the third step you do is process the data. So you're going to process the data. What do the variables mean? What cleaning is required? So here, what do the variables mean? So there are different types of data. So if you look at a particular data set, you have different varieties of data. So you can have a character data, you can have number data, you can have date, you can have time, you can have boolean. So there are different types of information available in a particular data set. So you need to have some understanding about those variables. Okay. So after understanding these variables, now you think of what kind of cleaning is required on that particular data. So now you identify the anomalies, if there is any anomalies. You identify the null values to fill the null values. So you identify the data inconsistencies. So all these things, and you draw a conclusion saying, this is the cleaning technique that I'm going to use for this particular data set to clean my data. Okay. Next, fourth step, what you do is explore the data. So what is that you're going to do while you are exploring the data? So what are the patterns exist? So are the patterns significant to me? Okay. So in exploring data, first you split the data into smaller parts. Okay. Then you finally say that, okay, this is the data I have. What is the significance of this particular data? So is this data significant to the analysis what I'm going to do? Okay, that is what you're going to analyze here. Next, in the fifth step, perform in-depth analysis. So you're going to do a in-depth analysis here. So in in-depth analysis, what you're going to do, how can the past information inform the future? So whatever the past information is with you, how is it going to give some kind of insights to me to draw a conclusion out of this data? Okay, so that is what you're going to understand. Next, communicate the end result. The final step is communicating the end result. So what do the number matter? What should be done differently? This is what you're going to check here. So I think everybody is clear with this. Okay, so next is analytics in comprised of two important parts. Yes, analytics has visualizations and storytelling. These are the two key elements of analytics: visualization and storytelling. Okay, so what a storytelling is, we all have, see, we have seen, you know, right from childhood, we have seen different people telling us stories. We have our grandparents, we have our parents, we have grandparents, we have uncles, aunties who has narrated the stories. So this culture has come, storytelling culture has come from way long before, isn't it? So we've been grew up listening to their stories and fascinating the characters of their stories. Yes. So here you need to make a story out of your data. The more impressive story you make, okay, the more audience you're going to attract. Okay. So you see, like, whatever you see usually, normally you read, right? You go read a story. So you can only remember 5%. Many people remember only 5 to 10% of what you have read after 1 or 2 months. But if you listen to a story, or if you visualize a story, what happens? It stays with you for long in your memory, isn't it? That we might have already experienced in our day to day life. So visuals have more impact on human brain than just, by reading a paragraph. Okay, so that's why it is more important to have appropriate visuals to narrate your story in data analytics. To do this, the key elements are: you need to have a relevant data, you need to have appealing visuals, you need to have an engaging narratives. So you need to narrate it such a way that you're going to attract your audience. Our audience are going to just get immersed in your storytelling. Okay. So what is data visualization? So first part. So there are two parts we discussed. So we are going to talk about the first part. So first part, the data visualization is nothing but visual, is nothing but representation of data in a pictorial form or in a graphical format. That is nothing but the data visualization. So the first step, what you are doing is you're making your data visual effective. Okay. So next, why do we need data visualization? So now you understood what data visualization is. So what is the reason that you need data visualization? So we need data visualization because a visual summary of information makes it easier, isn't it, to identify patterns, trends, whatever it is you want to draw out of your data. So it is very useful, and it is very informative for you to draw some conclusions. So that's why data visualization is very important than looking at some bigger data set which has like 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakhs, or a bigger data set. It's always easy to look at on a visual which can give us a solution, or which can give us a particular information about the data. Okay, so that is the reason we go for the data visualization. So how you going to represent your data visualization? So you can use some flowcharts. Okay, so you can use some multi-variable plots. You can use some portraits. You can use some comparative representation, comparison. You can use some maps to represent some locations, countries, states, something like that. You can use some timelines. So what is the steps to follow? So you can use any of these techniques to present your visual form of the story. Okay, so when you look at multi-variable plots, you can say why this happened. So when you're representing the data related to why, then you can use a multivariable plot. So when you're representing data related to whom and what, a person or a thing, then you can use a portrait, okay, or distribution representation. So when you're representing the comparison, you can represent in a how many, you can represent in a kind of a bar charts. So as I told you, with respect to location, countries, states, regions, you can represent using the maps. Okay. So then flow charts, how it happened, how the flow is taking. Okay. So from where to where the flow is there. What is the hierarchy of the data? So to represent that, you can use flow charts. Okay. So when, so you want to know the position in time, especially, then you can represent using timeline charts. Okay, so this is the different types of visuals that we use to represent different types of data in our data set. Okay, so let me tell you a story. Yes, so when I say storytelling, as I told you, yes, storytelling is a very important part in your data analytics. The effective, the more effective, the more effective is your story, you are more likely to draw the good number of audience. Okay, so always be a good storyteller to be a good data analyst. Why does storytelling matter to you? Yes, it does matter. As I told you, stories make data meaningful. Yes, stories tell to sell. You can sell your business or your ideas through stories. Okay, stories crystallize takeaways. Stories are simple and easy to remember. Okay, so that is the reason storytelling has given a great significance in data analytics. Have a clear storytelling goal. Yes, anybody can tell a story, isn't it? So, but the challenge is how skillful you are in narrating the story, and how skillful your story narration is it. So this is what is the storytelling goal is. Okay, what's the outcome you expect from this story? So you need to set a goal that saying that what is the outcome that you want to expect from this story. Okay, next, who are the target audience, that who is listening to your story? Who will be there listening to the story? Do they know you? Do they trust you? What information do they have about you? So you need to know more about your audience. When you're knowing to your when you're finding out about your audience, you need to focus on these points. Okay, next, what is the structure that you are using to tell the story? What will the story say? This is what you need to focus. How is it going to talk? That means what are the types of visualizations, chats, whatever, how you're going to narrate your story. What are the key messages that you want to pass on to the end users? What needs to be known first? So what do you know, what do you need to know at the very beginning of your storytelling? So you need to identify all these kind of questions to narrate a clear story to the end users or to the audience. So I tell you, storytelling is an art. Not not everybody can be a good storyteller. Okay. So next we focus on creating audience focused data stories. Yes, as we've been telling, storytelling is to the good story attracts good number of audience. Yes. So many organizations, what they see, okay, if you they have a data driven culture in their organization, if they have enough skill set, or the skilled developers, or the skilled manpower in their company, they think they have achieved a success in data analytics history of their company. But actually no, many among many, only few think that we also need a good storyteller who can connect our data intellectually, emotionally with an audience. Many don't know this. They think, okay, we have enough skill sets, we have good developers, so yes, we can have a good data analytics culture, or we have a data analytics team in the organization. But to support all this, you need to have a good narrator who can narrate your story clearly to the audience. So this is also very, very important. Okay. So most storytellers, okay, what they do is here, they understand their audience, they understand the data, and they understand what kind of visuals they have to use to narrate their stories. So a good storyteller needs to know all this. Okay. So for example, if we say, uh, when speaking to an executive, okay, statistics are like key to the conversation, but a business intelligence manager would likely find methods and techniques just as important to the story, isn't it? So when you talk to an executive, you just say in terms of numbers, okay, of course, yes, in terms of number, it is very, very important to know what is the numbers that you have drawn, or that you have achieved. Similarly, you also need to have a good story to your numbers that makes more meaning to your data. Okay. Next, so let's see, what are the four important elements of data storytelling. Okay, the four important elements are: first, you should have a good beginning. So when you are beginning your story, you should have some target questions, or you should have some target information that you want to convey to the audience. What is that you're going to convey to the audience? That is what you need to identify. So once you identify, you need to think of your how you are going to present your data. What kind of visualizations are you using here to present the data to the end user or to the audience? This is what the next thing you're going to focus on. Once you focus on this, then you need to identify whether my story has given a useful insight to the audience or not. Then you should have an impressive conclusion out of your story. So these are the four elements, or the important elements of your data storytelling. Okay. So the art of data storytelling. So what does it consist? So first step here is, I said beginning, right? So in the beginning, the art of data storytelling. So visual preparation. First, you need to prepare your visuals. So you need to identify which are the graphs that you want to use to present your data, which are the charts that you want to use to present your data. Okay. So you should make sure that there is no I can say there is very accurate information can be you should choose some chat, something like where you project your accurate information. Okay. So we have given some examples here. How do you have an accurate information? More accurate information will give you this kind of insights. When you look at the last in the diagram, you have very less accurate results as well. Okay. So you need to have a good visual perception. So which data is good with which chat? So you need to have a clear understanding of that. Okay. Next, 6 reasons why you should visualize. So it's been said by many scientists, okay, we remember or we receive more information, or we receive 5 times more information when we see through visuals. Excuse me, when we see through visuals. So visual is easy to remember, easy to memorize, easy to recognize. So we remember 5 times more when we see through visuals. This is the first reason why we have to represent our story in a visual. Next, second option, how you share your story will determine the size of your audience. Yes, of course. I told you, the good story attracts good number of audience. So you should always be a good storyteller. Okay. Next, colors. Color visuals increase willingness to read by 80%. So it's always important choose appropriate colors to your story. Don't make it too colorful and don't make it too dull as well. Okay, so you always have to focus on what kind of colors you choose to narrate your story. Next, fourth point is we get the sense of a visual sense in less than 1 by 10 of a second. Of course, yes. So we can just identify a visual very quickly than identifying a number and remembering a particular number. So it's always good to visual it. Okay. Next, data visualization make it easy to recognize patterns and find exceptions while interpreting the data at a faster pace. Of course, yes. So it makes it easy to recognize for you when there is a faster pace of data you have, or when you have larger amount of data. Okay, 90% of the data in the world today has been created in last 2 years. So earlier we never had this much of volume of data, but all this data has been created. So the trend of data analysis, analytics, and data science, all this big data, all this trend has started in very recent years. Next step, what you do, know your purpose and data. So you need to know what is the purpose that you're creating this visualization, that you are going to narrate this story to the end user, and you understand your data thoroughly, so that you can draw some meaningful insights from the data. So it is always good to know your data, know your visualization. So when you know your data, you always identify what are the measures, what are the dimensions. So which I have already told you, measure is a numerical value or a mathematical function. Something like you want to say total sales, total profit, so total revenue, sum of sales, sum of profits. Okay, so this is nothing but the measure where you can have some summarization of the data. Okay, dimensions are more of a qualitative, something like region, sales of a sales region, then employees, locations, dates. So these all come under dimensions. So to know your data, you need to identify what are the measures and what are the dimensions. Craft your message. So next step is how you're going to craft your message. So you need to convey an effective message to the end user. So what are the points that you're going to focus when you're going to craft your message? So points are, what is your overall goal of your data analysis? Okay. Who is the message intended to? Who are the target audience? You need to understand. What do you want to answer? So from this data collected, from this visualization you made, what is that you want to answer? What kind of relationship exists in your data? So you need to identify, is there any relationship between different facts, dimensions? What is the relation between facts and dimension tables? You need to identify. So what are the best techniques for displaying this? So as I already told you, you need to choose appropriate charts or appropriate tables, appropriate visuals to represent each different variety of the data. Okay. So example, you have categories. Okay, so if you have a category, we say it's always good to represent a category in a pie chart, something like that. So you need to choose a appropriate visual. So then can you highlight specific data points to better get your message across? Yes, Is there anything that I can highlight, I want to emphasize on? So that also can be done. That also need to be identified, and that also can be done. How can you incorporate a summary of your message in your chats? So how are you going to incorporate the summary? So by emphasizing on appropriate titles to your chats, so you can emphasize on a summary of the data. Okay, so this is how you can craft your message. Storytelling assets. What are the assets of your storytelling? So I told you storytelling is not for everyone. Okay, but a good data analyst should be a good storyteller, which can attract, who can attract a lot of audience. Okay, so good story attracts good number of audience, as I've been repeating. So what are the elements that attracts your story? As I already told you, you should have a data, appropriate data for the story. Then you should have a simple visualization for your story where people can understand your visualizations. Okay, then you should have some information, or you should be able to draw some information out of your graphs. So this is what the basic, or you can say, this can summarize your storytelling. Okay, next, 5 signs you are not telling an effective story. So there are different signs that tell, like, okay, we are not telling a good story. Blank stares. So there are too many loopholes, too much of you know uh, gaps in the data storytelling. People are not able to connect. Okay, too many questions about the validity of the data. Okay, difficulty retraining information, uncertainty about next steps. You don't know what to do, what step to take. Okay, doubts about why data matters. So these all are points, or these all are consider that you are not telling a good story or an effective story to the audience. So you need to first address these problems to be a good storyteller. Next, insights. Insights are nothing but the conclusions. So what are the conclusions that you can draw out of your story? So, what are the facts? What are the observations you have made? What are the conclusions you have drawn? What are the key takeaways, or the key takeaways of this? And what is the necessary action that you can take about a particular conclusion that you have drawn from the data? So, this is also very important part. Why are insights important? So, insights are important to identify consumer needs, to introduce new ideas, to improve your business functions, to communicate the positive and the negatives of the business, and to give an orientation to your goals of your organization, to identify your consumer needs. So these are the things that you can address, or that you can give solutions, that you can draw conclusions. So that's why insights are very useful, and very useful for your storytelling. So let's give an example here. Example of finding insights. How we find the insight. Recommendations on Netflix. Usually, if you see a Netflix, you're watching a TV series, say example. I think whole world is using Netflix now. So I'm sure all of you know what a Netflix platform is. So Netflix is a platform where you can watch your online movies, TV series, and right. So if you look at this, when you see a TV series or a movie, many of us will skip the introduction. We don't want to see the names. We don't want to see the actor names, director names, and we don't want to see any of this information. We directly want to start with the movie. So that means we watch only 90 to 95% of the movie, isn't it? So what is that you can insight? What insight you can draw from that? So the insight that we can draw is, so many of us are not watching the titles, isn't it? So, and many of us are not watching the end credits. So, this These things we are skipping. We are only watching 90 to 95% of the movie. So what recommendation we can give for this? We can give a skip intro recommendation. So excuse me. That's why Netflix, usually when you stream a movie or a TV series, it says skip intro. There is a tab where you can skip the introduction of that particular that particular TV series or a movie. So that is the recommendation. So this is how you're going to draw, find out what is the problem, you're going to draw the insight, and then you're going to give a recommendation. So this is what exactly we are going to do in the data analytics part. You find out problems, you draw the conclusions or the insights out of that problems, and you recommend an appropriate solution to the problems of an organization. The same visual we are showing here. So when you do a skip intro, it will automatically go to the next episode. Okay. So watch out of these, would you say, are actionable insights? So there are a few things. Before getting into this, I want to talk about non-insightful and insightful. Later you can see which out of these would be an actionable or not actionable insights. So what is non-actionable or non-insightful? Okay. So non-insightful is nothing but the information that you already know. That's an old news. Okay. So that you already know there is a problem. The problem is already existing. So let's take example. You have an university where students are attending some courses in the university. For example, the fact that some students struggle with too many exams. We already know there are 10 group or 20 group, there are few who are good with their taking up exams, there are few always have complaints or they always struggle to take the exams. So this is an old information that we know. But if you want to convert that, or if you want to say what is insightful information, if I take the same example in insightful information, so I say like 90% of the students are struggling to take the exams. So 90% is a big number. So we need to find a recommendation for this particular 90% of students. So in non-insightful, it is only few students. Of course, it's always 50-50 in many cases. Whereas in insightful, we have 90% of the students who are struggling to take the exams, isn't it? So that's why this is old information, non-insightful. Insightful is the new information that you want to draw the conclusions. So now quickly, can anyone give me in the chat, so which out of these would you say are actionable insights? Our NP score this month dropped by 15 points. Passengers complain at missed flight connections. 20% of customers talk about price. Buyers say that clothes sold by a competitor are better quality. People talk about a brand more positively following a ban on a plastic bags. So which among these are insightful? Can anyone confirm quickly on chat? Anyone? 1, 3 are insightful. 1 and 3. Okay, all. No. Okay, good. 1 and 3 is partially good. First 3 points are insightful. Because buyers always compare your one product with the other product. That is a known fact. That's why we try to meet the buyer or the customer requirements by giving a better design. So they always compare. That is a old information, we already knew that. So people talk about a brand more positively following a ban on a plastic bags. Yes, this is also a known fact, because most of the people are going towards non-plastic. Yes, this is also known factor. So first 3 are the insights. Our NPS score this month dropped by 15 points. Passengers complain at missed flight connections, because flight itself is very unpredictable. So it has many factors whether it is going to take off flight or not, because of weather issues, so many issues. So this is also very unpredictable. Okay. Next, 20% of customers talk about price. Yes. So we know. So how do we address this 20% customers who talk about the price? Okay. So first three are the insights. Okay. Next, why stories? So stories, as I told you, stories are for many people. If you look at many people remember a movie better than reading a book. So why do you think Game of Thrones and there are some movies which are converted books into uh, movies? Why do you think they have made into movies? Because people can connect to movies emotionally. Many people can connect to movies emotionally. Many people can memorize. It is a memory for them, and many people can be connected to the movies this way. Lord of Rings, Game of Thrones. There are many books which have converted into movie form. So because people connect to emotions, visuals very fast. Okay, that's why we need stories. Let's do a quick activity. Can anyone type the first thing that which comes to your mind when I say money? If I say money, what is that you think of? Can anyone type in the chat? Yes. See, different people have different things. So they say profit, they say financial security, they say dollar, they say savings, there is time. So different people see a data in a different perception. So different people have different perception. Same way, data, when you have data, so money is power. Yes, somebody says money is power. So different people see it, different perceptions. So when you have data, yes, of course, it has different perceptions. So you need to have a clear understanding of your perception and clear understanding of your goals and clear understanding of your target audience to narrate a successful story. Okay, so what are the popular analytics tools we have? So the popular analytics tools are Microsoft Excel, Power BI, R programming, Tableau, SAS, Apache Spark, Excel. So there are different QuillView, different types of analytic tools available in the market. Okay. So today's session, as I already told you, we are going to do a small analysis on Excel. So because data analytics with Excel, that is what the today's focus is on. So we already know what an Excel. I'm sure many of you are experts in Excel, using different kind of functions, different kind of formulas in Excel. Okay, so the main focus is here: how do we design our reports and dashboards in Excel? Okay, Excel is powerful and very flexible tool, and it is used widely in analytics. So what is Excel capable of? So we already know it has different tools. We have calculators, we have stimulations, we can have dashboards, reports with charts, we can automate jobs with VB macros, we have statistical analysis, data entry and list, diagrams, mockups. Then you can also fetch live data from web, and Excel also can be connected to the any relational database system. Okay, so what are we going to see on the tool? So today I'm going to talk about a data set called sales data. Okay, so from sales data, what is the conclusion that I'm going to draw? So what is the analytics that I'm going to do on sales data? So I'm going to show you total sales, how you're going to do total profit, next sales trend, sales by country, sales by category, profit by country, filters. Okay, so this is the thing that we are going to show today on Excel. So my dashboard would similarly be looking like this. This is the sample dashboard that we are going to talk about. Okay, so let me share my Excel. Just give me a second. Okay. So can I get a quick confirmation from you that you're able to see my screen? Okay. Can you see the Excel? Yes. Okay. Thank you. All right. Let's proceed. So this is the data I have right now. Okay. Which is global superstore data. So the description of the data is something like this, or the variables you can also say: order ID, order date, ship date, ship mode, customer ID, customer name, segment, different cities in USA. This is particular to the pertaining to US market. Okay, different states. Then you have countries. Sorry, this is not pertaining to US market, but yeah, you have different markets as well. Sorry. Next, postal code, market, region, products. So something like this, we have different information available here. Okay. So out of this information, I want to quickly show you how we can do a analysis, or how we can do a report and a dashboard out of this data. So if you look at this data, you have different lot of information available. Okay, so we have this many number of rows. So when you look at the bottom, you have so many number of rows available in this data. So first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about total sales. Total sales equals to, so many of you know, I'm sure, how to use sum operation. So I'm summing the sales. So let me go to my sales. Okay, so this is the sales, total sales I have. Okay, so I'm removing the formula. This is my total sales. So now I'm going to design a small bar graph on this. So before that, I don't want any grid lines. So I'm removing the grid lines. Let me highlight my total sales. And go to insert option. Okay. This is my total sales. So if you don't want to see the axis, you can cut down the axis. Can you see it? But I want to have the axis. I want to have the chat title. So I don't want the grid lines here. I want the data labels. Where do you want to have the data label? I want it on the center. Okay. So this is the total sales I have. Okay. So I'm going to rename my now. Next we talk about total profit. sum of profit. So this is going to be the sum of profit. I want the data label in the center. I don't want the grid lines. Okay, so I'm going to rename it as total profit. So if you want to turn off access title, you can turn off the access title. So I don't want that, so I'm turning off. So here also I don't want the access, so I'm turning off the access. Okay. Now let's look at sales by country. Okay. So for this, what I'm doing is I'm designing a pivot table. So to design pivot table, you can click anywhere on your main data set. So this is my main data set. So I'm clicking anywhere, go to insert and say pivot table. So where do you want to create the pivot table? So I want to create it in a new sheet. So you can create your pivot table in the new sheet. Click OK. So a pivot table is created for you. Okay. So this you can rename it as sales by country. So just give me a second because the name is already taken, it says. So let me give another name because I've already have that file. Okay. So here it is. This is my pivot table. So I'm going to click on show fields. Now I'm going to do sales by country. So what I'm doing for that, I'm going to drag this country under this rows. Okay. And I'm going to drag sales, sum of sales under values. So it creates a sales by country for me. Okay. So once this is done, let me just delete this because it's a repeating information. Okay. So this is good. Sales by country. Next, we create another visual for sales trend. So let me click here again in the main data sheet, and then let me say pivot table. So I want this pivot table in the new workbook. So I'm clicking on the new workbook and click OK. Okay. So here what I'm doing, because by trends I'm saying, so just give me a sec. I'm going to draw order date. Okay. Quantity. Okay. So when you expand here, you can see automatically and then quantity, then I want sum of sales, so which I'm going to drag under values. When I expand, I can see here like first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, okay, something like that. Say fifth, sixth quarter, something like that. Okay, so this is created for all the years 2001, 2011, 2012, 2013, and 2014. Okay, so now let's create an analysis for this sales trend analysis. Click here, go to pivot analyze, and then pivot chat. So when you choose pivot chat, automatically Excel will suggest you to choose which type of chat you want to have. Okay, but yeah, let me choose a different type of chat. Let me to choose like a line chat. Click OK. When I go to here, I can choose difference also here, different. So I think this is better visual for me. So I'll choose here, and then I'll double click on title. I can say sales trend. Okay. Now you want to show the axis, you don't want to show the axis, it's up to you. So I think, yeah, I don't want the grid lines. So I'm removing the grid lines. So this is my sales trend. So let me rename this. This is sales trend. Okay, so I've created sales by country, sales trend, sales profit, sorry, total profit and total sales. So now let me create another visual for sales by category. Okay, for that, again, what I'm doing, I'm trying to create a pivot chart. So keep everything as it is, click OK. A pivot chart is created. So what I do, I want sales by category. So I'll drag category right under rows and I drag sales right under values. So can you see I have furniture, office supplies, technology, and some of the sales. Okay. So now let me quickly create a chart for you. Sales by category. So pivot chart. So what I do, I create a pie chart. Okay. So I want the data labels. So I create the data labels. Where do you want the data labels to be? So I want it on the center. So let it be on the center itself. So let me say a title as sales by category. Okay. And I don't want the legends. So I'll remove the legends. So let me quickly rename this. Sales by category. Okay. So now this is done. Let me do another analysis. Profit by country. So let me go to my global superstore data, go to insert, then pivot table, click OK. So there's a pivot table created. So now profit by country. So I want to see country wise profit. So I'm going to drag country under rows and profit under values. So when you look at all values column, it is automatically summing up for you. So if you expand and go to values field, you can see count, average, maximum, minimum. So whichever the summarization operation you want to apply, you can change it. But for now, I want to see only the sum of profit. So I'm keeping it as sum. Okay. So let me quickly rename this profit by country. Okay. So let me draw a graph for this profit by country. Okay, so go to view, no grid lines. So what I do for this is, sorry, just give me a second. So let me copy it here. Okay, so now what I'm doing here is I'm going to insert a map. So map is created, something like this. So you can give title to your map. Profit by country. Okay. Okay, all good. Sales by sales trend. Next, sales by country. So for this, what we have to create. So let me create another map for this, some visualization. Okay, let's create the same default visualization. So if you want to change the design, you can change the design. Something like this. Okay, I think I'll keep this. And what I do, I'm going to sort the data from large to small. So you can see United States, United Kingdom, New Zealand, which are on the higher side of sum of sales. Okay. Now I want to change the title to sales by country. Okay, something like this. So I think we have designed everything. So I think total sales, total profit, sales trend, sales by country, sales by category, profit by country, filters. Okay. So I think we have designed most of the visualizations. Now let's do a dashboard. Let me name it as sales dashboard. Okay. So what I do now, first let me remove my grid lines. Okay. Let me bring my total sales here. Now total profit. Now you can arrange your data accordingly. Sales by country. Okay. Sales trend. To make more space, I'm turning off the axis. Sales by category. Okay. Profit by country. Just give me a second. Okay. So if you want to add a slicer, you can add a slicer also. So let me add, say here, slicer here. So I want to add a slicer on region, okay, to see which region it is. So again, I'm copying this and moving to my dashboard. I'll go to my slicer properties and I'll increase the number of columns, 4 or 5. Okay. So now I want to give a connection to my slicer. So which all I want to. So it's already connected to table 1. So now sales by category, then sales trend. So I want to give, I don't want any connection to my profit by country. So when I click this, can you see the changes are happening? So when I click on Caribbean, you can see my pie chart, this everything is getting changed. So you can clear your slicer here. If you want to have a multi-selection, you can click here, Africa and Canada. Okay. Only Africa and Canada is selected. So you can clear it, you can turn off here. Okay. So now if you want to do some color formatting and everything also can be done. Go to design. Oh, no, sorry. You can go to design. Then you can choose your layouts. Then you can choose your access. You can choose your colors. See here, if I choose this, it will change accordingly. You can choose any of this layouts, you can change it. Okay. So you can choose your layout here. I think this looks okay for me. So let me keep everything uniform. Okay. So this is how you can design your dashboard. So here, if you go here, labels. Where you want to see your labels, you can do it. Chat titles, above, center. So there are more options also. So you can explore these options as well. Something like this you can do. So if you want to change any of the formats, also can be done. So you can change different colors on individual sheets also if you want. Something like this, you can do it. Or you can uniformly change everything on the dashboard itself. So dashboard is nothing but collection of your different reports. It's nothing but the dashboard. So this is the final, uh, this is how the final dashboard looks like. So just give me a second. Okay, so I told you these are the analysis that we are going to talk: total sales, total profit, sales trend, sales by country, sales by category, profit by country, and filter. So that is the analysis we have done here. So I hope you got a little fairer idea about how to create a dashboard and different reports. So I told you I'll be showing the similar kind of dashboard, something like this. So what are the good examples of visualization? What are the good dashboards and what are the bad dashboards? So what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do on the dashboard. See, when you're designing a dashboard, it should be very clear. Okay. So every element should be clearly giving a clear idea of what you are doing in that particular report. Okay, so it should be something very clear. You can see here: delighted NPS score, standard customers, growth rate, CA customer location, net income versus projection, sales by representative. So can you see it's very crystal clear for even a layman can understand by looking at these graphs and by looking at these figures. So it's easy for us to understand. So make sure, don't make your dashboard look very clumsy. It should be very clean. So here also is a good example of the dashboard. So you have different categories. Okay, you have suppliers, you have concentrated, you have unlisted. Okay, so make it very clean dashboard. So total spending, how much saving, uh, how much saving, all these things has been clearly communicated here. Average purchase cycle time, so everything has been clearly communicated. Next, sales performance dashboard. So here also, what is the new customers? Okay, sales revenue, profit, average weekly sales revenue. So it looks very clear, very understanding, very easy. The very first look itself, you find it very impressive. So what are the bad examples? Don't do something like this, which is, we don't know which is what you're talking about. It looks very untiny on your dashboard. So don't do this kind of analysis on your dashboard. And this is also is not recommended. So this also looks very confusing for the end user to know what it is. So these are the examples of bad dashboards. So please don't try to create any bad dashboards. So another, why I say this is bad dashboard, though it has lot of information, though it has information on it, the reason is it is trying to project all information in one single dashboard itself. So your dashboard should have too many elements. That is also one of the bad design. It should not have too many elements, or too much of information should not be projected to the audience. So that also is an example of a bad dashboard design. So make sure you have a limited amount of reports and which can communicate clearly with appropriate titles, with appropriate colors, with appropriate legends. Okay, so that makes your dashboard very lucrative. Next, analytics in the industry. So if you look at this particular analytics in the industry, right? So in 2015, 17% of companies adapted big data analytics. By 2017, 53%. See, where is 17% and where is 53%? So there is a huge increase in the adaptation, right, of the big data analytics in the organizations. So 90% of enterprise analytics and business professionals currently say data and analytics are key to their organization's digital transformation initiatives. So 90% of them are saying that analytics is the key for the success of their business. So data-driven organizations are 23 times more likely to acquire customers, 6 times as likely to retain customers, and 19 times as likely to profitable as result. So this is all just giving of rough figures for you to understand how data analytics has taken over the industry, how the growth of data analytics has been seen over the years. Okay, so this is just statistics for you to know what is the importance of data analytics in the organization. Okay, so with this, I conclude my data analytics with Excel session. I hope you enjoyed the session and it was informative for you. So yeah, if you have any questions, anything, you can please ask me now, and you can go through our website, and we have our LinkedIn, Facebook pages. You can go through to see the new updated information, new trainings happening. Okay, you can register for the new courses at exaltus.eventbrite.com as well. Okay. Okay. So if you ask about shortcuts, there are like more than some hundreds of shortcuts available in Excel. So I don't think it's really feasible for us to put all the shortcuts here. See, as I told you, it's today's session is only on Excel. So there are different types of analytical tools like Power BI, Tableau, QuillView. So different people use different tools for Excel. For dashboard designing. So that makes your dashboard very animated. Rajat? Of course, yes. To prepare this data, it's not just we have only shown the reporting and the dashboard design. You need to prepare the data. So the key for a successful dashboard is, a good data preparation. So there is a steps that we take care to prepare the data to make it understandable. So anyway, thank you all. Thank you for joining the session today. Have a good day. I hope it was useful for you. Thank you. Yeah, you can call it a day. You all have a good day and good night for few people.